Hello and welcome to the OPL Week 4, Day 2 of Split 2 of the 2020 season. My name is Jake Spawn Tiberi, once again filling in for Nick Boy, who is away at the moment. And joining me, as always, is going to be Rusty and Skimmy, as well as my good friends Juves, Juventus. Some pretty good games of League of Legends yesterday, played by other people, but I hear that you've had a roughie this morning.
Yeah, I had some players in solo queue that would have been better off using the Mobifier website than building things on their lonesome. So I thought today would be a little bit of a rough show. So we'll see how we go. I need to fix my mental.
Okay, and Rusty, please save us because you are the god gamer out of everyone here. Surely you've won something this morning.
I won a trip to the gym. I didn't play games before the show. I usually just play afterwards because you don't want to come into the show tilted, Spawn. Yeah. I don't think that's something you should ever do if you can avoid it.
And Skimmy obviously missing the dress code, as well as the fact that shouldn't be playing TFT because I can still see his eyes darting around the screen. Skimmy.
No, I've closed it down. Literally, as the timer for us to go live, I've closed it. I've upgraded my units. I'm letting the AI take full control. Top 4's in the bag, mate.
But Skimmy, tell me, right? Is this a case of I hadn't done any washing and therefore I need to wear nicer clothes than I normally do?
No,
or is this a case of I'm in a good mood, therefore I'm dressing good?
No, I realized that, since I joined the OPL, when we had the budget to go out and buy, I went out and bought, and then I realized for the last 6 months, I've just been wearing the same outfits, right? And I feel like with me doing OUC, OCS, and OPL, I'm just going to look back at those VODs and be like, did I only have 3 outfits? Did I only wear 3 bits of clothing? So I went out shopping the other day, and I'm just like, you know what? I wanna put in a bit of effort. Wear something new. Feel good.
I don't know if anyone else caught the flex, but did you just hear that flex? How much League of Legends Skimmy cast? He is practically Oceanic League of Legends.
I'm trying to catch up to you boys. You guys are like godfathers, right? 10 years of history. Like, this is why I skip on so many analysis segments, because you'll be like, oh yeah, back in 2014 this happened. And I'm like, mate, I don't know what's going on. Let me just scream and shout.
Did I miss out on the memo though, where we all have to wear jackets to be on broadcast?
No, I think we just it's actually just cold enough, It kind of just naturally came across. You're fine, Juve. Your outfit's good.
Spawn, can I ask you a quick question before we get started?
Absolutely.
Have you notched the heater up past 17?
No, so the issue is, Juves, and I was supposed to, but what happened, for everyone wondering in chat, was Skimmy started playing TFT, and we all know how that goes, so he needed a little bit of help. So he switched on the Discord stream, and we all started coaching. So, Juves, I am still, I didn't comb my beard. I am still in an order t-shirt, unfortunately, which I never wear on broadcast, so the jacket's gone back on, and it is still freezing cold. So we have the old Ugg boots still in wearing.
That's such poor form.
We are very, very comfortable on today's OPL is the way I will say it, Juice. Very comfortable.
Well, Skimmy's carrying for all of us then.
Yeah, I mean, he's dressed well enough. However, guys, we do have some good League of Legends action coming your way. Before we jump into the games, however, let's take a look at the standings and see what exactly the league looks like. It's still going to be Legacy undefeated at the top of the table after the first round robin. They're 7-0. The Chiefs, they've fallen twice, 5-2, but still pretty good for a team with a new support. Direwolves and Pentanet are in the upper mess, as we're going to now dub it. And then Avant Gaming and Order in the lower mess. Mammoth and Gravitas are 7th and 8th, respectively. Mammoth is officially 7th for the first time as they do hold the head-to-head. Guys, what is more surprising, the fact that Legacy are undefeated or the fact that Mammoth were able to pick up a dub and get themselves into 7th place?
God, I mean, you have to say that Legacy's undefeated, given the last couple of games that we've seen from the right. There was even a tweet from Babip yesterday that said, we can't keep getting away with this. So I think that is something that resonated with me as well. So I'd say that's the most surprising.
Yeah, I'll be honest. When you look at the Mammoth and the Gravitas game, you compare the roles, compare how the teams have been playing. There's no real surprise if they pinch games off each other, right? You expect it. Put them in a best of 5. I'm sure it'll end 3-2 somewhere along the line. So for me, yeah, Legacy definitely getting away with those 2 sneaky wins and then being quite dominant yesterday against the Chiefs. is definitely the surprise.
And the Chiefs are 5-2 right now. They're just separating themselves from the pack. However, Skimmy, they have looked like they are the second best team definitively in the league right now.
Yeah, certainly have. I feel like for them, it's chase the legacy show at this stage, right? Looking to try and capture what worked for them in Split 1, looking to try and find chinks in the armor for the legacy roster, and as they've said so, expressingly on social media, right? Like sometimes we feel like we've been outdrafted, sometimes we feel like teams have a better read on what to do, but we're presented these situations where we're just able to get away with it. So I don't think it's going to turn too much in the grand scheme of things with the likes of your Chiefs, your Direwolves, and so on, but I think they're going to have to get a little bit more creative as things go by and sort of capture that best of 3 later on player form.
I will see whether they're going to be able to do that in today's games. As we bring the schedule up onto your screen, kicking us off, it is going to be the Chiefs taking on Pentanet.gg. Then Avant Gaming will go up against Mammoth, who are trying to turn that step into a war, into a run. Order versus Gravitas in what is probably a must-win for Order at the moment to continue the 1-1 stretch. And then the OPL Grand Final rematch from Split number 1. It's going to be Legacy taking on the Direwolves, who look to be in some pretty good touch at the moment, Juves.
Yeah, Direwolves, I mean, they looked quite convincing and quite good against Order. Probably maybe a tiny bit of a mid-game hiccup, but nevertheless, it was still pretty clean coming out from them. The match that I'm really excited about actually is Order or Gravitas because specifically, this isn't shade at all, but like when we look at the standings, right, it's one win up. If Gravitas manage to pinch the game, they also become like the lower end, but with the group, right, to make like a playoff push. So that's exciting for me.
And Rusty, game 1 looks to be a banger.
Yeah, I mean, you'd have to say that, right? Looking at yesterday's form, though, for both of these teams, there was some moments, even though Pentanet.gg got the win, right? They were so slow with such a large early game lead that I worry if they do something similar against a team like the Chiefs who have the class to pull it back, you'll get to see what actually happens when that goes haywire.
An old King of the Jungle versus new King in the Jungle, Juves. Croc versus your protege, Impabu. How do you think that matchup plays out?
Look, based on current form, and the more I see Pabu playing solo queue against top-tier opposition, the more I'm actually a believer that Pabu can really make this work. Because I thought initially, right, the first few weeks, maybe a bit of beginner's luck, maybe a fluke, maybe the team covering him here and there. But the more I play with him and the more like I autofill and have him as a jungler, the more I'm like, wait, Pabu actually has a really decent understanding of how the jungle is meant to be played, has very good mechanics coming from a lane. And I think he can really make this work. So I think this jungle matchup might be a lot closer than you believe. Because the thing to consider too is Pabu doesn't have a history in jungle, so he does things off the cuff sometimes, and it does catch people off by surprise.
Certainly does. We're a very talented region, and you, our fans, are also talented, which is why we're giving you the opportunity, thanks to our good friends at NeoSurf, to be a part of the OPL opening video. Win yourself a $500 NeoSurf voucher to use in the League of Legends store. All you have to do is take a video of yourself joining that call, follow OPL and NeoSurf Esports on Twitter, and then share it using the hashtag NeoSurfWin. You've got until week 6 of the OPL to get your entries in, and we'll be judging them. So get creative and make us laugh, as the people did yesterday. Full terms and conditions are on watch.lolesports.com. And first place, once again, is that $500 NeoSurf vouchers, but we'll be awarding 5 runners-up $100 each for use in the League of Legends store. So thank you very much to our partner in NeoSurf, where your privacy is protected with no need to provide a credit card or personal information. Throughout today's show, guys, we're also going to be opening up what I will be dubbing the spawn bag. So make sure that you're getting all of your submissions in, because we want to be able to ask them. So tweet or Gmail or whatever the heck Nick normally says at this segment. I probably should read the rundown before show as opposed to asking. There you go. Ask Nick Boy, gmail.com. However, guys, we are ready for the first champion select of the night. It is going to be the Chiefs versus Pentanet.gg. So let's throw it over to the Macca's Champ Select. Legacy just really solid macro play. Ray's looking to just close this one out. He's had enough.
9 Chaz though on the flank right now. Does a lot of damage. Instant responses. Taric ultimate. We have to use it. Cannon Bros goes on down. We need to find kills within this small 2.5 second window. That's a 4-man knockup. This could spell disaster.
Raze.
Avant, they find one, but Raze is ripping through the ranks. 1 into 2 into 3 into 4. You know what you get when you have this guy on your team.
He's going to get the Penta.
He wants the Penta. Is it a day of Pentas? It certainly is. Legacy! They make us wait once again to the late game, but we play for Pentas. The big turning point obviously was the contest for that Ocean Soul.
Yeah, and it's still on. There's a soul point available if Kralis finds a way into the pit. We'll see how he goes.
Miles going to open up things here with the Orn ultimate, looking to try and zone as much as he can. He blocks out the Ash arrow, now flashed away. Blast goes himself back into the pit. Pabu, 1v5, slaps them all down. The shockwave looks good, and everyone just dies.
He just got, oh my god.
He's got a penta. It's going to happen. Kraken's running. He gets the blast code. He's got flashes. He's got dashes. He's got damage. Give us the penta. Oh my god, he's getting juked. It's DDR, fancy feet, everything looking so damn clean. There's the pentakill in the stream. We've seen enough.
I cannot believe I came back. Did he just get a quadra kill with a single ult? That was nuts.
And here we are for the very first game, day 2 of week 4, coming into this one to really understand where teams are at. Once again, joined alongside by the man, the CEO, the business entrepreneur, looking so damn clean on his run of form. Mate, I was getting roasted before, right? OUC, OCS, mate, we've been through the entire journey together. We've done it all. We've gone from start to finish, and here we go with some fantastic teams once again. Chiefs up against Penta. Now, I like the point you touched on there with Pabu, and I think it also links into your point from yesterday, right? That Chiefs feel very reliant in a way on Croc to find some form of success to get the ball riding. So this is that kind of gauntlet run of really assessing where Pabu ranks against some of the best in the league.
Yeah, I mean, and we keep going with this narrative now. It's what week, where everyone's played each other once, right? We're at that point in the season, and we go with the narrative like, how's Pabu going to do versus this guy? How's Pabu going to do versus this guy? Pabu's first week of League of Legends, his first game of in a jungle in a professional setting, he was able to top the Chiefs, right? And they did it with some funky fiddlesticks and nocturne composition. So, at a certain point, maybe we've got to start putting a little bit of respect on Pabu's name as a jungler, right? And maybe he's done enough, not to solidify himself as, the league's best. I'm not trying to say that by any means, but maybe he's solidified himself as actually, he's a jungle contender now, right? And he's someone that really does hold his own.
I think it's always going to go down to the core argument as to consistency. Is there consistency, or is this a player that can only show up on certain occasions? And that's what we're looking for as we jump into this draft. Still a 100% presence for the likes of the Varus as well as the Graves, always banned or picked, and that's not going to change here today. But the biggest outlier, Juves, has to be the fact that Penta have locked in Akali and stolen that away from the Chiefs.
Yeah, they've taken it away from the Chiefs. I know Chiefs invested quite heavily in their Akali split one, but this is something we've seen from the Chiefs so much now. It's the first pick of Karma, the first pick of those, Ranger, Athene's Unholy Grail supports, and Draku seems very comfortable on these champions, and week in, week out, it's something that he's getting. Now, the thing that I'm concerned about, right, is that when you draft these types of champions, you leave yourself open to hard engage hook champions in the bot lane. And this is Rogue's bread and butter. So Penta have responded to the Karma with a Thresh. And sometimes, historically, you don't want to give Rogue a really good Thresh matchup because he will punish you in lane. So, going to be interesting to see whether the Ashe and the Thresh are able to take away the Senna and the Karma. But, Skimmy, it's important to remember that this Karma can be a flex.
100%. And I mean, the fact that we've got this Senate coming in, it suggests to me that we are looking for a fasting Senate variation. The fact that Karma gets locked in as that first pick usually says we pick it because it's insane. We don't actually know where it's going to go until the draft is complete. So I'm expecting them to pair it with a tank of some sort. We've seen so many different variations, the likes of Pantheons, Maokai's, Wukongs, and the Time Kench being the original, obviously, of those variations. But as you say, Rogue, insane. It is his best champion in the Thresh. And the Ashe, I guess, in a way, functions a little bit like the Karma, with just really annoying harassment.
Well, because so generally speaking, with Senna, the person who's farming, if it is a ranged champion, they do benefit a lot from taking teleport. You get the cheat tempo and also keep, the enemy in lane. But when you lock in the Ashe, you're automatically forcing a cleanse. And if they don't take cleanse, then they're running into a lot of trouble because you know, if they both can't take cleanse, and if they do, well,
Yep.
then they lose like a lot of trading and they lose the survivability in lane anyway. So it's going to be nice to see where they put this Karma. But, you know, one thing I noticed that we didn't touch on, look at the respect they have for Kratos, right? 3 ADC bans in the first
Yep.
3.
Certainly are, and I mean, this is a guy that we've seen the team heavily invest in. No more than was a clear example yesterday, right? The fact that he was up by a very definitive amount, a full item advantage. Teams were investing, or the team itself was investing in giving him all those turret plates and just allowing him to be that monster. So all the respect comes out, and well, as you saw from the week 3 EPOS Player of the Week, you give Get Back an opportunity like this on the Kassadin. You combine that with the set, we could be running it down with back-to-back Pentas.
Yeah, so Azir, obviously, pre-6 gets a lot of priority into the Kassadin, right? Azir is completely fine, outranges, has range, can play at range, and really let Lee Sin move around the map and rotate freely. But Kassadin does get outscaled by... Kassadin does outscale Azir, and once Kassadin hits level 6, then Claire on the Azir is going to need to play a little safer, can't really trade aggressively in lane anymore. So I like this pick from Pentanet, I like this pick from Get Back. Yes, Pentanet did struggle playing scaling against Gravitas last week. Eventually, they did get the win, and we're seeing the exact same combination of Pabu on set, Get Back on Kassadin, and we also saw what happened in the Play of the Week highlights we saw previous to this. So, composition we've seen Pentanet play. Now we need to see if they've refined it, if they can not bleed as hard as they did in the early game. Because if they give Chiefs the lead that they gave Gravitas, it's going to be a very quick game.
And that is what Chiefs are known for, right? Is if you give them a lead in the early game, they dominate it and they don't give any form of control coming into that mid game. If you give them any kind of lead, the team fights, they will crush it. They aren't reluctant. They don't get lost during the mid game. They don't feel reliant to fight around one of those monsters, be it the Dragon, the Herald, or whatever it may be. They will just find you any angle. That could be through turret pressure, roaming, good vision control, and collapsing as a result. Pentanet here obviously have a few windows of engage. It's not going to be clear and cut in the sense that they don't have to rely on a key target like it was Pabu, single-handedly jumping in on many occasions, sometimes looking a little bit interesting for lack of a better words, but so many engagement tools here, and once they do find a key target, the ability to blow somebody up. This is the first game of the day. It's a big one to open up our accounts here, a test of form for both, as the Chiefs look to keep themselves cemented in second place. They'll be on your left-hand side, as Pentanet.gg are hot on their heels and are on the red side here. So, Jubes, as we already touched on, Pentanet definitely got a diving composition that wants to scale up, has plenty of potential to find a target and explode, but the Chiefs have committed to this Karma support, a comfort pick here for Dragku, and what do we really expect to see the strength of this to try and then shut down the best pick of Rogue?
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing they can necessarily... Well, you know, the one way you shut down Thresh is you just don't get hooked, right? And that's such a, like, it's such a, what is it, like a
that's
weird...
a five-head explanation.
Yeah, five-head explanation. Of course, just don't get hooked. But really, there's no intricacies to it whatsoever. It's, if Karma is just harassing... So, Karma is going to harass you. Senna is going to be harassing you. Ashe and Thresh, or Thresh specifically, is probably going to take some poke, take some harass. Now, it's the onus is on Rogue to win this lane or to not be down 30 CS and your turret, right? If no hook lands, Dragku Katsuri are going to be completely fine. But the problem that I see this Chief bot lane having now is that they don't have a cleanse. Now, you're playing against an Ashe arrow that's going to be up pretty frequently because it's not the longest cooldown, and it's just going to be thrown at will, and I would argue that whoever that arrow lands is going to die.
Certainly will be, and as you touched on from the drafting phase, would there be that summoner cleanse? Well, it hasn't been locked in here. They have opted for the heal on the Senna and the teleport on the Karma. Going to be very reliant then on the QSS to come later on into this game. Or the Mikhails, as we've seen Dragku quite keen to itemize into.
Yeah, the one thing I also want to touch on is this is the second game in a row we're seeing Tien on a tank top blind, pretty much. I know the Akali was picked earlier, but it was a flex, and they decided to put it into the top lane. But yesterday, Tien went with the Sion, and today he's gone with the Ornn. So maybe a little bit of a, you know, identity shift from the Chiefs, because we've known Tien to be this carry player who's, you know, put his hand up at times to play the Fiora, play the Camille, and basically made his name and being that carry player. And now we're seeing a lot of different things coming out of Chiefs, and maybe this is why we're seeing them, you know, Sure, they're 5-2, but if we look back at Split 1, they were undefeated for majority of the season, and maybe that's why we've seen them falter in a couple of games, because they are trying to identity shift and create, you know, other revenues of other avenues rather of win conditions.
For sure, other avenues of success make it not so clear-cut as to what their game plan is, so that they have some situations in which they can find a drafting edge. I'm glad you touched on the point there for Tien. The Ornn is his most played this year. He's played 7 games, second to the Akali at 5. So Biped, no stranger to playing different things, and maybe a bit of a nitpick as to, well, if I can beat you with one of your best, how does that feel?
Yeah, and Skimmy, this is one of my criticisms of the Pentanet.vg roster. It's that when they draft the way that they do, so they pick Kassadin, obviously doesn't get prior 3-6. They have the Thresh and the Ashe, who's going to get pushed in by Senna and Karma, is they just have no priority for their jungler, and we see these things happening to Pabu week on week, getting invaded, having the blue buff stolen away, having no priority for Crabs, and having to burn Flash like this. And this is a common occurrence, and we've seen this for a few weeks now, where they're just happy to play 3 losing lanes, losing jungle matchup, and Pabu's just playing the game from behind the 8 ball at 4 minutes in, and you see Croc is just unrelenting. And when you verse teams with good players and good junglers, this is going to be happening, and feels like they're just behind from draft, really.
And that's what we sort of asked, right, as to the true test of your transition into a new position in the game, making onto a new roster. How do you fare up against some of these players that have been in for a fair bit of time? And what would it actually look like in terms of game state? Obviously, Lee Sin and Setfer, in the same fashion, looking to do the same thing, pulls those fights, but Lee Sin will have a slightly better time, at least till level 6, with his creative pathing to put that one online. But as you said, the priority's been so fantastic so early on here for Chiefs that they've been able to get some deep vision. You saw the ward that Claire placed down only moments prior, and just giving them constant information as to where he is and keeping tabs on him.
Yeah, and you know, we didn't get to see this, Skimmy, but if you look at the summoner spells of Katsuri and Dragcrew, Flash being burnt, Heal being used, and Rogue only having his flash used, it looks like Rogue may have landed a hook, and this forced the skirmish, or you know, we probably won't get a replay, but just trying to make sense of what happened. If anything, though, this is really good for the Pentanet lineup, because now at level 6, they have immediate kill threat onto Dragcrew.
Yeah.
No cleanse, no flash.
They certainly do, and the ganking potential is going to be unreal if their team do decide to show up and force that fight. That was the narrative for them yesterday, mind you, when we had this very volatile bot lane, and as they went into the Avant, both very early game orientated, and Get Back playing the Twisted Fate, of course, came down at around about the 6-minute mark, found that kill, blew wide open the game in their favor, and they didn't really lose control of it from that point onwards. So a very real window that I'm glad you highlighted.
But that's probably what we will see at level 6 again, Skimmy, right? You think of Kassadin as a late game champion and doesn't really want to do anything, sit in lane until he can get as many levels as possible and then look to do something in a side lane. But it really wouldn't surprise me if we see Pabu get a deep board in bot side, and at level 6 Kassadin just teleports and they look for a bot dive, because when you have no flash and no heal, that's a very realistic possibility regardless of how well your champion scales.
Both looking to channel the Hex Flash right now, but both going to use it to entertainment effect, really. If there was a word to describe what that was, it looked good, but doesn't equate to much. You can obviously see the understanding is if we can find a good kill here, find a numbers advantage, we can transition that easily into First Blood, but also into a Dragon. That's going to be a flay. Katsuri goes a little bit aggressive there, but they can afford to play this aggressive given the fact that Croc is hanging around here too. Yeah, I mean, Croc's doing really well so far, right? He's playing around his points of pressure, and he's consistently finding Pabu and not giving him any breathing room. See, Pabu's went from bot side of the map straight to the top side, and this is pretty good heads-up play. They know they're going to lose the dragon, so Pabu's thinking, okay, what little advantage can I get my team? Because at the moment, there's nothing for me to do bot side, and stealing away from the blue from Azir is very big if he can get away with it. Oh, it's huge. Absolutely huge. Getback is going to need all he needs, everything that's possible, any helping hand that is afforded his way to ensure that the battle of the scaling mids will favor him in some way, as we check in with top side, and we can see that it's a very even trade so far, with both having already gone back for their first item, Catalyst up against the Blade. Or the Revolver, sorry.
Yep. And this is just one of those lanes where we probably won't see too much action in terms of solo kills or some heavy trading, but both these champions are really happy to get their items and to scale into the game, and you know, it just comes down to who can influence or who can micro-max a team fight.
Here he is again. Both do not have 6 just yet, but you'd imagine they're very close to it. As you can see from his XP bar there, this buff for sure would guarantee himself the ultimate, and there it is.
And this is just priority, right? Like, this is what we talk about when we talk about priority. I see questions sometimes, what is priority? And priority is just when, you know, your minion wave is under the enemy turrets and the enemy has to farm that. And so that's what we saw there with Ornn into Akali. Ornn had to wave under Akali's turret. Akali can't leave without losing minions and taking away that red in a 1v2 situation.
And I think to expand on that point, which I'm sure you can give further context on, that means that, you know, Akali can't leave because they lose that. And if they lose the fight as well, they're losing on 2 fronts.
Yeah, they lose double, right? It's just, it's so volatile. And so, you know, sometimes in solo queue, sure, you know, teams sack minion waves and win a skirmish and it doesn't look so bad. But in a competitive professional sense where the players are this high level, then you're going to lose the skirmish most likely because there's a reason you don't have priority in lane. And then you're going to lose the minions as well. So sometimes it's just not worth the risk, and giving away jungle camps until you can fight is a good thing. Here we go, all in, and this is exactly what happens. Yeah.
Arrow, play, damage, and very immobile. Yes, they have shields and movement speed, but they don't have a dash, and that's exactly what Rogue is hoping for. That's going to be the first blood to get Pentanet up and underway.
It feels really good as a caster when you say something and then it comes to fruition. That was just picture perfect from Rogue there. Using the Hex Slash in lane, getting into flay range, flaying Dragku, absolutely nothing you can do. And if you look at Dragku's flash, they did it with about 10 to 15 seconds left on his flash. So extremely well played from Rogue and Praedyth. And we're really seeing them come out as a really strong 2v2, right? Like, they're becoming, you know, quite scary in their own right.
Certainly are. Definitely a bot lane that I think there's never been a question as to their ability, but it's always been, can they get the end result as a team, right? The victory screen to paint the picture for the outside public, and so far so good. You'd have to say that definitely timing out those summoners, understanding their window to execute upon.
Now, the important thing to note is that when you play center lanes, you really don't want to lose lane. And I know, again, that's a bit of a 5-head comment because, of course, why would you ever want to lose lane? But center is notorious for being sort of a lane bully, if you will. And normally when you pair center with a tank, the tank just free scales into the game. But when you have center with Karma, it is not a lane that you necessarily want to lose because Karma, you know, dying a couple times can really set her back, and having Dragku having this first death could be or spell trouble for the rest of the game.
Well, that's what they're going to look to do now as Chief try to turn things around. Biopampers in the area, looking to try and stay in the Shroud for as long as possible as the Call of the Forge God goes out, and the mobility is going to force a flash. There's a disengagement, and all-in connect happens in the mid lane. He's going to flash away from that turret shot, both for a critical mass, but the soldier does it. Will the minion damage be enough? I tell you what, he must have been on 10 health. And the Sonic Wave is there if he wished to connect with it, but they're waiting for that minion wave to crash under this tower now. Yep,
we're going to see a dive coming on through most likely. Pabu still has ultimate though, so Croc is a little bit scared to take Lee Sin Q2. And you can just see how hesitant they are because Set does have the ultimate. Fire Panther duking out most of Lee Sin's Qs, and I think Pentanet live to fight another day in the top side of the map, but that exchange in the mid lane really was just a micro max, and Claire really coming out on top there, showing us how good he is on this Azir. And
Croc's still hanging around. You thought for a second there, there's only one ultimate allowed and one ultimate left, and that was Parbu's. And Croc thinking, okay, maybe they believe we have gone for the retreat. Nope, we're sticking around. You're not allowed to recall. Now there are no ultimates. There is only one flash available. We want to connect. That's the headbutt onto one. That's the kill, but that's the trade.
Yeah,
the assassins get out.
I'm not necessarily sure that's worth it, but flash hook lands.
Ooh, flash forward with the death sentence, and it definitely does spell death there as they connect. And they take out that flash once more.
There's so much to really talk about what happened. You know, we had kills in the mid lane, kills in the top lane, and just another 2v2 kill in the bot lane. And this is exactly what I was saying, Skimmy. The moment you fall behind on Karma in lane, it really does become almost unplayable. And we're seeing that with Thresh and Ashe right now. It is extremely volatile, especially when you don't take the cleanse. Taking TP is a really greedy summoner spell. You're just relying on a micro max, never being hit by a skill shot. But again, we talk about Thresh being Rogue's best champion. It just almost feels disrespectful to give him this champ in this lane.
Well, 12 minutes in, that's going to stabilize as the gold is dead even at 19,000. That kill will allow them to obviously go Dragon of their own accord. The first objective
in their favor, given the fact that for the most part that priority, as we've been talking about, was favoring the Chiefs. The first Dragon, the first Herald, the ability to invade and hit 6 first. But the trade obviously then for Pabu was to steal away their blue, give Get Back a blue, and just play patient, wait for an opportunity to shine, and in typical Pentanet fashion, play through their bot lane.
Yeah. And I mean, if you're Pentanet in this game, you're kind of happy with the current game state, right? You know, you're down 300 gold, we'll say next to nothing, and I'm going to hold that thought because Croc is looking again to steal another red buff from Pabu.
I think he spent at least 50% of his time in this game in the opposition's jungle at this stage. Pabu being let know what the difference between these two. Once again, the death sentence lands. Draku in a whole host of trouble once more now. 0-3, concedes his life, knows there is no chance to escape without any summoner spell available, and this bot lane getting a bit scary now.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if Draku's death stop here. It is very hard to play the game. Once you have no flash versus an Ash Arrow, it's just going to be coming at you off cooldown. The one thing Chiefs really need to do to stabilize this bot lane is get some really good vision control so that everything Karma is seeing is straight in front of him, right? If the Ash Arrow is just coming from lane, then Draku has a chance to duke it out using Powered Shield, potentially get that move speed and get out of dodge, but what's happening is as soon as Katsuri and Draku are going into bot side of the river to get some vision, the Ash Arrow is coming from fog, and then you have no chance of duking that. But Chiefs doing the right thing here, yeah? They're flipping the map and they're really playing around their one pressure point, which is Tien at the moment, and potentially going to break first turret. So Croc, whilst he doesn't have, you know, an insane KDA, he's definitely 1-0, having an extremely good game, but he's creating a pressure point for the Chiefs and giving them a really big win condition.
And that's what we want to see, right, is that Croc goes back to what he does best, and that is succeeding in the early game, building up a lead and having a lane to play around.
Yeah.
And at that stage, given that top lane is neutral and bot lane is losing, it's all about Claire finding that lead, which, as small as it is still very relevant.
Well, the Azir's at a point where, you know, he's no longer a champion that requires babysitting, right? He'll be completely fine in lane, in a side lane, but in saying that, Kassadin also will be fine in it. So we saw the solo kill, but it doesn't mean much in the context of the matchup, right? Kassadin's still going to be doing Kassadin things. He's not that far behind, but we might see a 5v5 team fight here. This is very early to be fighting 5v5 with Kassadin.
Certainly is. Tien pushes the net, being trying to know it comes out, locks two in place, Get Back, jumps across the water. It's going to be the slam dunk to they are slowed down by so much CC. The all-out comes out to prevent the full collapse, but they are just going to get evaporated. It's a 1-for-1 so far. Support for jungle, but it just continues to favor Pentanet. The assassination attempt, they are being held hostage. There is no bail, there is no video, and there is no chance to escape. Triple kill for Get Back.
I mean, that is just a really well-played team fight from Pentanet. You know, in my mind, I'm like, okay, maybe you don't want to be fighting here with the level 11 Kassadin, right? Kassadin notorious for needing level 16, but Kratos pulled the trigger on the Ash Arrow, only hitting the Ornn, but look at Get Back and Pabu on the backside of this team fight. Lands a really good set ultimate. Draku just pretty much in isolation fighting them, and the team really don't, Chiefs as a team don't know who to focus, and they kind of get caught in between the Pentanet roster. It's almost like they're getting sandwiched from both sides, and you can't be team fighting like that. Chiefs composition need a proper front to back. Ornn in front, Lee Sin in front, and Claire to set up Sand Soldiers, but Pentanet didn't let them get that fight.
Getting a little bit awkward now, and that was what we were talking about as to what Chiefs want to play for. Get a lead in the early stage of this game. Look to try and find a decisive team fight and win. That could be over an objective or not necessarily. They always seem to find situations that favor them. And they're going to try and open up that condition by getting the first turret, having the vision control in this top side jungle. That's primarily Pentanet's red buff area. That's where Croc has spent the majority of his time. First real true test of power. Completely cancels out what you're highlighting before, with Claire getting a very small advantage, but Get Back showcasing, look, the battle of the mid lane is definitely going to favor me.
Yeah, but there's sometimes, like, again, this is another, I've said 3 5-bird comments, but sometimes there's matchups in League of Legends that if you die once, it's not that bad, right? Like, the Kassadin dying to the Azir, I'm not trying to say it's a good scenario. Obviously, it's not, but it doesn't turn into a volatile matchup where Kassadin is going to just die on repeat. And that's what we saw. We saw Chiefs get that little lead in the mid lane, but it wasn't relevant enough to carry over into that Rift Herald fight. Nice Ash Arrow, though.
Once again, Rogue, he just does not miss these hooks. He locks them all in place with that box, and they cannot escape this one. The Senate Cannon is huge, buying a little bit of mitigation here for Claire, but just so much damage comes out from Pentanet here. You cannot escape them. A 4-man collapse as 4 people fall on down, but they want to go for the full 5-man ace. Can get back win the 1v1 up against the jungle. He's 3 levels up. Of course he can. Why wouldn't he? There's the ace, the first of the game.
That's a 17-minute ace, and what we didn't see there was Get Back soloed out Draku in the bot side of the map, and Croc tried to recover that situation, also dying solo. And what we're seeing from Pentanet is when Praetor has an Ash Arrow or when their bot lane have engage tools, they just take over the game. And this is really just stemming from Rogue and Praetor's laning phase. And here's the replay. Here's what we see. Get Back just really knowing his limits. Really nice mechanics there to flash Rip Walk on top of Draku's head there. And again, I said it once, I'll say it again, and I'll probably say it another time this game, but Praetor and Rogue having an absolute blinder, just creating so many pressure points on this map, starting so many advantageous fights, and we're seeing Pentanet blow this game out to a 3,000 gold lead in a game where they potentially just outscaled the Chiefs.
The respect was shown to Praetor for 3 AD carry bans, but no respect was shown to Rogue. It's his best champion for a reason, and he continues game after game. The consistency factor is insane, but he is the kingpin when it comes to playing this champion. The guy is a monster at Fresh, and showcased perfectly what happens if you're going to go into a greedy matchup here. What he can do to punish you. I mean, we talk about the center variations, the builds. Might have to hold that ball for a second as the arrow goes out, but it does not connect. It's going to be the Glacial Augment variation, not the Grasp that we've seen in traditional fasting settings, but that tends to be more prevalent when you've got a tank that you're looking to try and build up.
Now, the scary thing you have is you have a level 13 Kassadin, you know, well on his way to level 16 in terms of items, ahead of the clock, has the Seraphs, has the Rod of Ages nearly at 10 stacks, and it's only 19 minutes into the game, so this game doesn't get better for the Chiefs, so they need to work together to find a pick to slow down the tempo of the game and just manage to get some shutdowns, because they're running the risk of this game just getting away from them, because you look at bot side of the map and Katsuri and Draku pretty much 0-7-0, 0-7-1 rather, not faring too well in this game.
Katsuri, there's no denying his ability. The man is a monster. He's absolutely insane. The only pentakills and split one, but unable to have an influence over this game so far. They connect as a full 5-man unit, try and break apart the Pentanet split push. That's going to be Papa Job. He can first of all use the grit, gets the mitigation, and gives them enough time to force that kill. Get Back starts the ball, but everybody's just locked in place. They can't do anything. Rogue picks up a double. He's a support, he's the killing machine. He is a madman. They want back-to-back cases, and they will find it. Let's go to Baron.
That's a 20-minute Baron, and again, Pentanet, first, there's two things that play in what happens there, right? Chiefs, no doubt, are feeling the pressure of getting 1-3-1, so they decide to come mid lane and just force, because they have no answer in the side lane, and Pablo using the Hex Slash over the wall, plays this extremely well, soaks so much damage, then CC's Lee Sin, can't use his kick, and we just see Get Back 1v3 until Akali comes in, lands a nice R1 ultimate on Akali, hits multiple members, and it's really just cleanup duties. But what I'm most impressed with is that when you get this far ahead as Pentanet, it's very easy to fall in love with the idea that we just need to 5v5. But they're not doing that. They're still playing to what their team composition requires. They're finding multi-man backline access, multi-man flanks, and they're just playing extremely well.
We talk about looking to try and slow the tempo down to get yourself back into this game, but the Chiefs definitely do not want that to be the case. You can see them there going to go straight towards that Baron buff, look to try and take down any member that has no resources left. That could be mana, that could be health, that could be anything at this stage, and try and deny the amount of pressure that they have been setting themselves up for with the fact they went for that 1-3-1. Inspire all those minions down those lanes, push through these turrets, continue to build up this momentum, and I think at this stage it's not even momentum, it's just an absolute stomp. 18 kills to 3, only 21 minutes in here, Juves.
You know, and one thing I think Pentanet don't get enough credit for as a team is that I think they're actually a really intelligent team. If you look at the names on their team, the experience that they now have playing professionally, they really know what to do when they get a lead. And we don't say this about many teams, but it's just so clean and concise when they do have a lead. And even just playing the map, right? They draft things like the Twisted Fate. They play things like that. They play champions that allow them to 1-3-1, 4-1, and then collapse when the time is right. And you know, that's not the easiest thing to play, because you need to play on your windows. You need to play on when you've got priority in side lanes, and you need to make it all work when you come together. And this is one thing we've seen, you know, the 2 days in a row now that Pentanet have done extremely well.
Definitely looking like a new style of Pentanet, known for their long games that have sometimes hit records of 50 minutes long, but they are smashing it
in the early stages here, up against an incredibly strong early game team fighting team. And it's refreshing to see, but you have to wonder, you know, where do Chiefs go to try and claw this one back? Because their bot lane, 0-9, not looking any better at this stage.
Yeah, but you know, and I think this is I was talking to a OPL player last night about this. You know, Pentanet for me, and as a team, they have a really strong identity.
Well, they have a strong ability to find fights after fights. There's just so much CC.
That's your
Draft
tank.
so beautiful.
That's your tank that just gets dove like that. You know, he just goes down like he's absolutely nothing, and all it is really one Ash arrow, and we don't have a tank on Summoner's Rift anymore, so where to from here for the Chiefs, right? You know, they may need to just allow Pentanet to get Ocean Soul and flip the game at Elder Drake, because maybe Elder Drake saves them, but at the moment it's just looking like it's a tough mountain to climb.
It's an incredibly tough mountain at this stage of the game, and Croc is definitely going to be hoping that the idea is, as you say, we are definitely in no state to contest right now. We are so far behind on every single account that we are looking at that Hail Mary attempt of stealing away with a Smite still, be it the Baron, be it the Elder, and looking to try and stabilize as a result. But they continue to look to invade and be aggressive. But I mean, you just take a quick stock check of some of these item breakpoints right now. 2 items in the majority of these players.
Well, watch Ash. Watch Ash. She's about to hit base. Oh, okay. And very anticlimactic. I thought she would have Death Dance by then, but nevertheless, double lifesteal now coming out of Ash. So it's just, this mountain is just getting steeper and steeper for the Chiefs, right? We're not really seeing anything come through from them. So we see Katsuri pick up the Black Cleaver now, but you know, what's that going to be doing when you have a level 16 Cassidy and Rift walking on your head? If Getback manages to stack up around 3 or 4 Rift walks and then uses one of them on Katsuri and Draku, I'm afraid to say it, but they're probably going to get one shot.
Claire will have a big power spike in his own right, though. He's just completed that Rabadon's Death Cap, so sitting on a 2-item spike, but as we've been saying, there's a full item difference between the two. So if there's ever a player to invest your hopes and dreams in, apart from Croc there with the Smite Steals, it would have to be this late game scaling Azir.
Well, it has to be.
That we know is a staple of his roster.
What you're hoping now is that Claire has the perfect front-to-back team fight, or an ult captures someone out, which wasn't this one, and you just have Draku and Katsuri peeling Claire and letting him just
Okay, he's going to cancel out the Enchanted Arrow with the Bellering's Breath. He's going to juke that one out for the meantime, but they are forced back to their base. You can see the mid-tier 2 has already gone down. Vizier has summoned his own turret, acting as a sandcastle because they want some positive vibes at this stage of the game. But Vilepamp is going to get collapsed upon right now. 1v3, uses his ultimate, dashes on out. So much mobility. Going to go for the Zonias, buy some more time into the smoke screen as well. Wasting so much of the Chiefs' time. Then flashes away. Pentanet going in for the push, for the siege. They take out Draco and say thanks for the money and thanks for the inhibitor.
Yeah, I mean, that's just... What do you say? What do I say in regards to that? Draku shouldn't have been trying to hold that inhibitor turret, and now they're 2 inhibitors down.
was literally playing catch the team.
Yes. And he flashed just to stall time, right? It looked like a bit of a Kappa flash, but, you know, it was just so they could break 2 inhibitors here, but can Pentanet get away? Because if they die here, then potentially it opens up the Baron, but the disengage is enough. The Lantern gets them out of dodge.
Soul Point Jukes, up in 2 minutes.
Yep, Soul Point, Ocean Soul. If there was a soul that you didn't want to give away, it would be the Ocean, because Cassidon's just going to be running rampant in these team fights. Chiefs looking to get some vision around Baron, some shallow vision. This is the right thing to do from them. Now, Akali doesn't have flash. Heard the flash before, used the Zonias as well, so maybe they'll be looking for a one-shot onto the Akali if possible. Teleport coming through. Looks like this is the Hail Mary, Skimmy.
The fall in as the Baron spawns and the team connect. Pentanet showing no signs of interest, really. Giving Chiefs some understanding, an opportunity to claw themselves back in. They know where this game state is right now. They continue the 1-3-1. Now up by 8,000 gold at this stage of the game. Get back nearly max level, nearly level 18. The man is well and truly in the driving seat. Level 17 and 7 kills to his name as well. He's going to push the final lane to get that inhibitor online, which is the bottom lane, and he can afford to do so. Nimble in his kit, has the teleport as well. If there was to be a scary situation where Chiefs did fully commit to this Baron, he holds all the aces.
The rough time that Chiefs are going to have, it is Ornhorn comes through, Zhonya's pop, maybe Cortex.
Once again, looking to try and target Bio here. Similar situation with a full 5-man collapse. The showstopper into the arrow, make sure that they can try and turn things around. Crit gives him a fair bit of mitigation. He uses the stopwatch as well. Duke's out of cooldown, Lances away. Rogue once again, fantastic in his ability, really showcasing the support gap here today. And Get Back stacking up his ultimate is looking just to jump on somebody's head and one shot. It's art. There's no other way to describe it. I don't need to say anything. He just jumps in.
He nearly did it, by the way. He actually nearly... If he killed Claire there, I'm pretty sure he doesn't die. But, you know, maybe a little bit of a lifeline for Chiefs there. They're still looking. Cien's still pulling the trigger on those Ornhorns, and this is the second time in a row that they've caught Biopanther out. You know, if you're looking for the silver lining, they got the shutdown on Get Back as well. I think they got that shutdown onto Claire, so, you know, picking up the... he's got the upgraded Death Cat. Farming 2 waves of super minions. Yes, they did lose Ocean Soul, but you've got to look for the silver lining. Chiefs are still in this game. It is only a 8,000 gold, a 7,000 gold deficit. See the replay coming on in here. Get Back, just waiting time here. Absolutely one-shots Katsuri. There's just no counterplay, and nearly turns this around. I'm fairly certain if Claire dies here, it's good night, but 1,000 gold shutdown.
It is a fair bit of money, and as you can see there from the CS, he carries the majority of their team's money. So the hopes and dreams as we continue to go into this match, hitting the 30-minute mark, have to rely on what he can do. Can Croc land a decisive smite? There's actually no discrepancy between the levels of the junglers, both level 13, so there's not going to be a major smite difference that comes into the equation, but it will be, can Claire find a massive game-changing Empress Divide? Do the Sand Soldiers do enough damage to combat and keep Croc alive? Because he's in a spot above her right now, receives the Ignite, but has the protection of his team and the heals to safeguards. To live a little bit longer. Puppy jumps in 1v5, but he has to protect the rest of his team jumping in to try and find this fight. They have a target in mind. It is Croc. They want to kill him. There's no smite now, but he stays alive just a little bit longer. But what does it mean if Pentanet can just steamroll this fight? Yeah. The assassins, the pressure, the damage, it is done.
That is good game and well played. Pentanet.gg really looking like a powerhouse team at the moment. Where does this put them in terms of the conversation, right? Where do we power rank them now after a game like this and a game like yesterday?
I would have to check the numbers, but I believe this is like the quickest win that Pentanet have ever had up against one of the strongest opponents in the league. This is clinical. This is insane. Congratulations to Pentanet. They open up the accounts here in day 2 of week 4 with a smashing victory.
Yep, and I mean, you know, I was very critical, not very critical. I was saying sometimes this is what Pentanet do. They draft themselves into lanes with no priority, but priority doesn't matter and lanes don't matter if you just play the lane so well and kill them anyway. And this all just stemmed from Rogue and Praetor just putting on an absolute show in the bot lane. Multiple 2v2 kills, rotating out of their lane and just getting leads everywhere on the map.
A good draft, a good understanding of what they want to do, and a good execution on the day. That's going to do it for game number 1. We're going to jump to a quick break, and when we return, it's game 2 with Avant. Take it on, Mammoth.
Today is the NeoSurf Cup, and we're going to be playing against Misfits, so hopefully we can bring home the win.
NeoSurf is simple, safe and secure. You can go to your local shop and get a voucher code and use it online, preferably to buy League of Legends skins.
He's got it! It's dead! He's got it!
Welcome to the 2020 OPL. I am Nick Boy Richardson.
And that's a beautiful hemo play onto multiple members. He gets himself a double kill.
It's Ray's doing what he does, the team fight king. We love everybody. We love the OPL.
If you're craving the taste of your favourites, head to Macca's for a fast, safe and contactless drive-through experience. For your Macca's run, contact-free, we'll be here.